Looks like an animal tried to pry into this thing. The FedEx driver goes, "What is this thing, a bomb?" I was like, no, it better not explode.
So what we have here today is my short block from last year that we built. It didn't stay in the car for long because we noticed immediately there was bore scoring in it, and it turned out that the machine shop only did half this piston to wall clearance that was actually called for. And so we were able to take it apart before it got totally ruined, and get the block remachined to the right size, and also port the head and go to some crazy solid lifter setup. So hopefully we're gonna be making a lot more horsepower with a lot less displacement. But first things first is we gotta
It's not very,
put it together.
it's definitely not as exciting as when we opened mine and it was just a full engine sitting there.
So
But
I think this is the extra block that I sent him. And then here's like the actual block.
the short block.
And then the head's right here.
Okay, well,
this looks like work.
Yeah, it's not very, oh yeah, that's a
Like, I
head
guess.
gasket.
It's very nicely packed, I must say.
It is. I like how he screwed the head gasket to the,
Yeah, so I'm excited to see mostly the head porting,
yeah.
because the head porting looked wild. And the fact that we have solid lifters in this car now, it's gonna mean we're gonna have a lot more valve stability, which may lead to less drop valves. Because last year, also after my initial motor blew up, at the end of the season, I just randomly dropped a valve when the retainer broke. So on this engine, we have super tech valve springs, retainers, all that good stuff. I don't know. In my green car, the turbo car, would never have valve train issues. So hopefully we stay that way.
You think you can pick that up or do you want my help? You're so strong.
All right, let's go put it on a table and admire its work. Let's see if the sad thing approves. So he said he didn't need to deck this block because it was fine, because I just got it decked. You don't want to keep decking heads. I'm sorry, the head wasn't decked because it was fine. You don't need to keep decking heads and making them slimmer. The block was decked a tiny amount, just because it literally rained for like half an hour. Maybe not even.
Yeah.
Although I did rip it pretty hard in the parking lot. Pistons got recoated because they were a little bit scored up, so they went to line coating. Wow, look at the freaking porting on that. Holy crap.
She might even make 250 horsepower.
Maybe, I mean, it looks pretty wild. Let's check out the intake side. Look at that. That's some porting right there. I never had a head like this before. This might be the best head I've ever gotten. They're 290 something cams. They're massive. Pistons are back in action.
It's crazy how much dome they have.
They're maxed out. That's all CP gave me. I said, CP, give me the most compression you got. And CP was like, that's what we got, fam.
This is what I got for you.
These are 12.7 to 1. But we're going to do Vanos delete to make sure we don't have any piston to valve contact. That'd be bad. Yeehaw, this looks good. All right, I'm gonna put the...
Get the other junk out of here and then we'll get to assemble it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the garage, and today we are bringing the M54 built loader back. Last year you probably saw us build this engine in my office, and it had high compression pistons, strict cams, an oil pump, and a few other mods. However, the Machinist didn't bore the right piston to wall clearance, so we started it up, bore scoped the engine, checked the bearings, because we do that all build loaders, and we immediately saw that the pistons were scoring the cylinder wall, vice versa, whichever way you want to look at it. So we immediately pulled that motor and put a junkyard motor in the car. During the last race weekend of the year, that motor cracked a valve retainer, valve spring retainer, dropped the valve, and like completely nuked itself. But in the meantime, we had sent this motor out to an unnamed engine machinist to get fixed and upgraded a little bit. Now, I asked them to fix the piston to wall clearance, and we recoated the pistons so they were good to go, because we pulled the pistons out so fast there was really no damage, but the cylinder walls were like a little bit scuffed up from the rings. And I also wanted to get ported a little bit. However, what happened somehow is he took 32 thou off the top of the engine, off the top of the block. I didn't ask for that. I didn't want that. I'm not sure why it even got cut. Same with the head. Well, the head didn't get cut. It should have been, to be mirror finished. But anyway, separate issue. Now, because of that, we're now using a head gasket that's 3 times as thick of stock. Had to order that custom. And also, when I originally put the head gasket in, I'm always safe on head gaskets. So these pistons are made by CP for a certain size head gasket. I went a little bit over that just to be safe. And even still, the pistons hit the spark plugs. That's how much was taken off the top of the block. And the way I know that this much was taken off the top of the block is because he also forgot to mill the front cover. And so the front cover is even with the top of the block. But when you forget to mill it, I can tell the difference. And that's how I tell it's 32 thou. Because I asked how much did you take off so I could compensate with head gasket. And he goes, oh, 7 thou. And then I looked at this and it was like a huge ledge. So essentially what this has taught me is that I am sick and tired of relying on Machinist to build my engines. And from now on, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get crate motors or something. I don't know. I can't physically, emotionally take this anymore. But we're going to put this one we're going to put this one together. It's the last hurrah. And if it survives, it survives. If it doesn't, well, I'm not that surprised after seeing the work that was done on it. So what upgrades we got are also massive cams. Thanks to Mino over at Achilles Motorsport, we got these super epic, custom ordered cat cams meant for solid lifters, and they're massive. So we had 264s with 11 mil lift in it before. These are 292, 290, 282 with 12 mil lift on the intake, 11 and a half lift on the exhaust. So this thing's gonna flow a lot more air. But to run these cams, we need to do a Vanos delete. So we're deleting Vanos as well, but honestly, the car's gonna have a dual clutch. We're going from an 8 HP to a dual clutch for fun this year. And it's not gonna be out of the power rev range anyway, so who cares? Fun things about these cams is they're billet, but when you have a billet cam, you need to run a DLC coated lifter. So these are solid lifters. You see they're black in there. That's the DLC coating, meaning diamond-like coating. Now, that's going to make them more durable. So when these things are smashing each other, because they're not hydraulic lifters and nice to each other, they're just literally tapping into each other. They don't make a lot of damage. Then use these little shims. This is a little lash cap, and this is how you adjust the lash between the solid lifter and the cam. Now, I've also told this Machinist to set the lash, but there's a huge variation in where they were set compared to my old Machinist, so it wasn't done very carefully. So I went through and adjusted a couple of them, so now they're all within spec. Things we shouldn't have had to do. Anyway, there's even more things wrong, but we're gonna just try to get this thing together. So yeah, so a couple things we can note just right off the bat is that we're using one of our EGR Delete block-off plates. Pretty classy little SLG item there. It blocks off, if you're going to delete the secondary air pump, this lets you do it classily. And then also down here, we have our billet power steering pump mount. So you can mount an LF30 pump to an S54 housing. So this is an S54 housing, which gives us a better filter retainer. And then also we have an AN adapter. So this lets you adapt your oil filter right to it. Not your oil filter, I'm sorry, your oil cooler. And then we have this little guy here, which allows us to put a temp and pressure sensor into. This is the factory pressure sensor, but I'm using it as a plug right now. And then I think in the next video, you'll probably see I'll have the coolant port blocked off as well. And essentially this motor will be full race spec, no heating system. Another cool thing we did with this water pump is delete the impeller. This car is going to run completely on an electric water pump. So this is really just like an idler pulley now. I tried an off-brand dampener last year, but it kept throwing belts, so I put a stock dampener back on it. I don't know, we'll see what happens. I hope it lives, but you know, a K-series might be in my future just for peace of mind, and just they're available and machinists know how to machine them. Apparently every time I get something machined, it's wrong. So I'm pretty sick of that. So I guess probably my last BMW engine for a while at least. You know, I don't even want to know. I'll keep working on this thing, and I'll show you guys an update in a little bit with some cool little parts we have on there, and you'll see what a balls out M54 looks like. It looks the same as a normal one, but hopefully it goes faster. Oh, I guess check out the porting though. Porting is nice. All right, so here we have the exhaust porting. As you can see, it's really opened up. Hopefully this lets us breathe at the top end. Get in there, Kendra. Let's explore this hole. Yeah, that's some nice head right there. Let's check out the intake porting. So if you don't remember, we use our M50 kit. So this is gonna be running an ITB, but based on an M50. So we used our porting templates, and then also did a little flare on the intake side to give more flow, I guess. I don't know, but it looks totally sweet. So hopefully it goes as fast as it looks. Let's get in there a good one. See, it's all knife edged and stuff. Yeah. I don't know, we'll see. Another thing we're running on this engine is 12 mil head studs. Now I do this because by the time you put 10 mils in it, you're just gonna rip the threads out. The 12 mils have a much bigger base, basically the same size as the time cert, so you get much better clamping all around. So you get the strength of the time cert and stronger studs. It's kind of win-win. We were able to torque this head down to 95 foot-pounds. I mean, hopefully we don't have to touch it again. I don't know, prayers.